Oh boy, I love Irish whiskeys. It's even a single malt whiskey. And it's also peated. Also peated. What the fuck? Hello everyone, welcome to the Whisky Warehouse. I'm Nick, here with you today alone. Trent, Sarah, and Dylan are all not available, so it's just me today. Today we are reviewing Connemara Peated Irish Whiskey. Yeah, Peated Irish Whiskey, which is the main thing that gives Scotch its smoky and leathery notes, is in this Irish whiskey, which is kind of odd. But we're going to go for it since it's Irish Whiskey Month. So, Connemara is one of the only Irish whiskies that is peated. And it used to be a common practice back in the day, but that's no longer true. It's kind of gone extinct a little bit. For those of you who don't really know about peat, peat is what the Scottish used to use back in the day as firewood. It's basically rotten moss. So they would usually put it into large bricks and then dry it out in the sun and then light it on fire for their fire to keep warm in those harsh winters. But nowadays the Scottish use them for their Scottish whiskey. During the distillation process, when they malt the barley or cook it, they put those bricks of peat under it, light it on fire, and then it'll smoke into the barley, which will give it that smoky flavor that you find in most scotches, and usually ends up being pretty overbearing. That's why I'm not much of a Scotch person. Those notes kind of turn me off a little bit. So I guess we'll find out how this peated whiskey, how it tastes. So it comes in this little tube. I just took it out of. Just like some of the more expensive whiskeys come in, usually imports. You don't really see many bourbons in tubes like this besides, E.H. Taylor and a select other few really expensive ones. This really is not much. It's about $40 to $50. So it's pretty affordable. It's kind of hard to find around here. I actually found this downtown Cincinnati. Yeah, it won't break the bank. So if you're interested in trying it, I would try it maybe. I guess we'll find out. So, real cork. It's got a nice little cap there. I can already smell the peat. The reason I got this was not only for Irish Whiskey Month, but I have been wanting to expand my whiskey verse into Scotch whiskey. I love Irish whiskeys, bourbons, American whiskeys. I still have yet to try Japanese whiskeys, and Canadian whiskeys are okay. I haven't really tried a full authentic Canadian whiskey. That's kind of hard to find. Kind of hard to find in Ohio. So, yeah, the color, your typical, golden Irish whiskey color. And there is this whiskey I really do want to try. It's called Lagavulin 16. If you're a Parks and Recs fan, I'm sure you've heard of it. That's how I got turned on to it. I love that show. I really do. And Nick Offerman's pretty cool dude. That's Ron Swanson in that show. And that's his main drink is Lagavulin 16, which is it's a $100 bottle of whiskey or more, which kind of turns me off of it. But if I can get a sample and just try it, that would really make my decision if I could buy a whole bottle. But they don't really have small, samples like they do of Jack and Jameson and stuff like that. Lagavulin's a more smaller distillery than those two are, so they can't really do that. But I really wish they would. So, yeah, golden color, nose, peat, smoke, leather. The legs, coming on kind of slow actually, a little faster than some. It's 80 proof, kind of thin. Yeah, the peat is strong. Yeah, leather, smoke, some like rubber. That's kind of like leather though, same kind of note. Kind of get a little bit of pepper and almost like an algae. Like when, if you've ever been to the ocean, whenever algae washes up on the shore, it has this distinct greeny smell to it, almost like a wet, soggy kale sort of thing. That's probably the peat. Also, let's go into it. The peat isn't too strong actually. It's stronger on the smell than it is on the taste. On the first taste, I get a little bit of smoke, and it's kind of sweeter on the back. So you got the peat up front with little sweeter notes on the back. Second taste. Smoke's kind of going away, or the peat is. Call me crazy. Get a little bit of coffee there. A little bit. Yeah, definitely coffee. Ground coffee. It turns into honey and vanilla in the back. So you got the you got the peat, which is the source of the smoke, and the leather. The leather's kind of disappearing after the second taste. And then it kind of turns into this coffee-like flavor in the middle, and then towards the back you get more of the sweetness with the vanilla, the honey, and a touch of black pepper towards the end. The finish is kind of nice. It's not as short as I thought it would be. It's kind of long actually. It's smooth too. Well, I say the finish is about. Well, you can taste it. You can taste the peat in your mouth for hours on end after you taste it. But the finish on the whiskey is probably about 10-15 seconds. 20 maybe. And that's where I get a lot of the coffee too, on the finish. Let's see what they say is in the whiskey. So, they say Connemara possesses a distinct peaty flavor and aroma, which it does, instilling a delicate smokiness and smooth, true, and sweet taste, which is also true. And then it continues saying that it is a combination of young and old whiskey, which explains why there's no age statement. It's just at least 3 years. The youngest whiskey in there is 3 years old. And it allows you to experience rich malt and fruit flavors. I didn't get much fruit. Underlying vanilla tones, which I did get vanilla. Deep, full-bodied peat. Peat. Lots of peat. But it's not as strong as I thought it'd be. Oh, and also, this is produced by Kilbeggan Distillery in Ireland, which is one of the bigger distilleries, but not, you can't really compare it to Irish distillers. They're just kind of a monopoly over there. But Kilbeggan might be the second biggest over there. They have several different whiskeys that they do produce, this being one of them. This isn't very old either, I don't think. I think they started making this in the, 1900s sometime. Not too old compared to most Irish whiskeys. But it is, like I said before, it is one of the only Irish peated whiskeys. That you won't find many others. This is definitely the number one best-selling peated Irish whiskey. One more taste and then I'll give you my score. Yeah. The peat and the sweetness kind of balance out a little bit. But I wish there was still a little less peat. I'm kind of getting used to it now. This would be a good entry Scotch whiskey, actually, now that I think about it. That's kind of why I got it, because I've been trying to get into Scotches a little more. Like I said before, just expand my whiskey verse, my whiskey world, And a big part of that is Scotch. You got your Japanese whiskey, your bourbon, American whiskey, Canadian whiskey, Irish whiskey, and Scotch. And a few other stranglers in there too. But Scotch is a big part of that, and I really want to get into that. but it's kind of hard to when you don't like peat. So this would be a good entry one. Good entry whiskey for peat. It's not too harsh. You kind of got to push through it. And then you got some sweetness at the end, which is nice. So my score, I'd probably put it at an 82, I think. And that's because of the peat. Once I get used to it in the future, that score may get higher, but that's just my personal opinion. I put Patty's at an 83. I put Patty's as an 83, so this is just below Patty's. So, and we'll see how Tullamore kind of stacks up to this. That'll be our next review next week. And then Tullamore 12 too. So that'll be good. 12-year. And then after that, I think we'll do the Napogue Castle, which is a single malt Irish whiskey. Looking forward to that. I've heard very good things about it. So I would recommend this for people trying to get into Scotch, as the peat's not as strong as I thought it would be, in my opinion. So yeah, if you want to try this, just grab a bottle. I know they don't sell minis of this. They don't sell minis of any other Irish whiskey besides Jameson and Tullamore, probably, since they're the number 1 and 2 best-selling Irish whiskeys in the world. But you Scotch drinkers would definitely like this, for sure. It's pretty good. So stay tuned to our next review on Tullamore Dew, number 2 best-selling whiskey in the world. We'll see you then. Cheers.